Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 8th prediction show for the February 22nd Riyadh season card that was meant to be 7 fights. But here we are. The world of boxing delivers again. If you'd have told me this time 6 hours ago that I'll be talking about Jospeh Parker facing Martin Bakole, I'd have thought I'd had some weird trip or something like that. But here we are, boys. Jospeh Parker's fighting Martin Bakole. Daniel Dubois, similar to Floyd Schofield, has been taken ill. He's out of the fight. In steps Martin Bakole. Now, the narrative is probably going to be, I know we had a little laugh and a joke before we just came on. Liam's tweeted out to Billy et al. And that will be the narrative. Obviously, Bakole is taking it on 2 days' notice. But the stone's on Jospeh Parker. Yeah, Dubois out, yeah, no worries. Throw Bakole in with me, the most avoided man in the heavyweight division. Jospeh Parker is absolutely crazy, and I love him for it. He is brilliant. Look, fair play to Bakole. Got to give him it 2 days' notice. Billy said, we spoke to him, boys, a week ago. He was on here with us. He said Bakole's definitely carrying more weight than he needs to be. So Bakole's probably not in full shape. I'd imagine it's going to be a 12-rounder because the original Dubois Parker fight was. I haven't really got time to process things yet. So, boys, I'm going to take a backward step. Just tell me what the hell's going on, please.
It is absolutely crazy. I mean, one fighter falling ill on fight week is crazy enough. Then to lose a second fighter, and it's not injury, it's illness as well. It's just, it was already, one of the biggest boxing weeks of all time. And then you have stuff like this happening, and it makes it even crazier. I mean, yeah, fair play to Jospeh Parker. I mean, the man has gone from a world title fight to a fight he doesn't need to take, because depending on what the IBF do, I mean, the IBF may slap an interim or something on it. Doesn't matter. He doesn't need to take this fight because Martin Bakole isn't at the front of the queue yet. He'd been ordered for a final eliminator to get to the position that Jospeh Parker has fought tooth and nail to get back into for the last couple of years. So you give Parker, Andy Lee, etc. all the credit. Bakole on 48 hours notice. He's coming for a shootout. Billy said to us that he's overweight. He's not happy with how he came back into training camp to get ready for the Ajagba fight. So it's not going to be a 12-round looking to box performance from Bakole. He's going to look to get this done inside the first 12 minutes. That's going to be his hope. But that probably plays into Parker's hands. Parker, you would imagine, has been planning to be patient, to get into the second half of the fight against Dubois. So if he needs to allow a big unit like Bakole, who's not in fighting shape, to blow himself out for a few rounds before he gets to work, then in that sense, it may be the game plan he was already planning for. But what a crazy week.
Mate, it's absolutely insane. Jay, I'm going to come to you for your thoughts. Thought Liam did quite well there because I had no words. I still don't really know what's going on, but there's so many comments come through. I've got to pull a few of them. Thanks to everyone for joining us, as always. Pat said, how long will it take before Bakole starts to get gassed? This is a definite play in my head as well. Because of his shape. Thanks for joining us, Pat. Luca, thank you for being with us as always, mate. He's saying exactly the same thing. On a full camp, Bakole would have a much better chance, obviously, but Billy did say he's not in the best of shapes at the minute, although he is preparing for a jab, but that was like 2.5 months from now. It's not even comparable. Dean, thanks for being with us.
The jab was May 7th, wasn't it?
It's been announced now. Parker versus Bakole. Jacob, thanks for being with us again. I worry about Bakole's fitness. Given he's supposed to fight a jabber in May, I can see him breaking down Parker in similar fashion to Joyce. All depends on the gas tank. Mickey, thanks for tuning in, my friend. Yeah, Parker has to be favourite for me, definitely. Look, we're going to find out a lot about Martin Bakole as well on Saturday night, Jay.
Yeah, I was just looking for my gum shields. I think I'll need it when I come out.
You're getting the call?
Negative. No, Prince Patel ain't got the balls to meet me. Fuck with.
Boys, do you reckon, on a serious note, are we going to lose any more fights before Saturday night?
Nah, I doubt it. But yeah, I'll put a negative spin on it, shall I? Similar to Padley and Stevenson, I'm not a fan of short notice fights. Even less of a fan of short notice fights at heavyweight, because it's even more dangerous. Now, I know we're talking about two world level combatants that, one of them's fully prepared for a world level fight. The other one is less so. And he's, overweight and not prepared.
This could be Bakole's big break, Jay, couldn't it? Because no one wants to fight him.
It could be, but it could all be when it could also be the bubble gets burst because he's ill prepared. Remember what Parker's prepared for. He's prepared for Daniel Dubois, a peak Daniel Dubois that is coming off running through Joshua, right? So Bakole probably needed to be at his best. And we all know he's nowhere near his best at the minute. He's ill-prepared. When were he fighting? April?
May.
7th of May. 7th of May.
There you go then. So he's nowhere near.
He's out of shape. He's out of shape.
Absolutely out of shape. Now, listen, he can navigate his way through 12 rounds. We get that. But I don't believe Parker's going to even give him that opportunity. I believe Parker's going to go in there and look to put on a statement. He's going to look to end the facade, the bogeyman, pull the veneer off. That's not me saying that. I'm saying that people do believe that Bakole's not as good as we're being led to believe. I don't know, because I'm going off the eye test. The eye test tells me the guy's pretty good. Whether he's the best of them all, we don't know that yet. But I don't like short notice fights like this, because you don't get a real gauge for what would have happened if these two would have fought each other off an 8 to 12 week camp.
Maybe that's why Parker took it.
Possibly, because I don't know if these two have sparred before, so I don't know if they felt.
If you want Bakole, you want him on 2 days' notice out of shape, don't you?
You do, but there's also the fact that Bakole might just go in there and think, right, I've got a good 4 or 5 rounds in me now, so I need to go all out. And he could overwhelm Parker. I don't believe he will. I think Parker's too clever for that. I'm just disappointed. I wanted to see Bakole in these fights, but I wanted to see him do it the right way. Fight a Jospeh, then get the shot. If he gets beat on Saturday night, it is so bad for him. No one's going to touch him with a barge pole then, because
if they weren't touching him before, they're definitely not touching him when he's on the back of a loss. Yeah,
exactly.
You're right.
So it's a massive risk. Hopefully, he's getting very, very, very well paid for it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it, but I'm not a massive fan of it. As I said to you guys before, I'm not just saying that because the camera's rolling. We've spoke off camera, I've said straight away, I was disappointed. I'm disappointed because I wanted to see Dubois get beat by Parker, and now we've got a fight that's been made at 2 minutes' notice. I want to see Bakole have a real run at it, and I just think that it's a risk that he could end up falling, no pun intended, flat on his face come Saturday night. And this could all blow up in his and Billy's face. But Billy's not daft. Billy knows what he's doing. So they've seen something in Parker maybe that makes them believe that a half-fit Bakole beats him, or are they just doing it because they're getting X amount of hundreds of thousands of pounds? I don't know. We'll see Saturday night. I'm just gutted for Daniel more than anything.
Yeah, look, I'll say this. I would have Jospeh Parker as a favourite, even if they were both off the back of full training camps. That's just how I feel about the fight. I think Parker, both men fully fit, both had 10-week training camps. I still favour Jospeh Parker in this fight. Bakole, like I said, he has to come and try and get it done early. There's no way for me he'll be able to last.
Seek and destroy
12 rounds.
Martin Bakole.
Yeah, but look, I think, like Jace just said, Daniel Dubois, you have to feel sorry for him. Whatever it is that's going around these fighters this week that's taken 2 of them out, you have to feel sorry for him, because he's also put in the work over a 10, 11-week training camp to get into this position. And who knows what's going to happen. Look, the IBF haven't said anything yet. You can guarantee in the next couple of hours, they'll say something.
Yeah, it'll be for the interim, won't it? It'll be for the interim.
They won't strip him, but whatever they do, Daniel Dubois now, get him fit, get him healthy, and put him on that card in New York in May. That's what they've got to do with him now. If they can't get him out
Here's a thought. This could really benefit Daniel Dubois, because if Bakole beats Parker, maybe Parker's style was all wrong for Dubois, but maybe Bakole's style's better. This is all just hypothetical now. We'll never know, but the winner's going to fight Dubois, aren't they, for the IBF Heavyweight Championship? That's what's going to happen. So, could it be a blessing for Daniel Dubois? Who knows?
I mean, full well, Billy has said that we're coming over for this fight, but we still want to be fighting Dubois next. Forget the eliminator. If we win this, we're fighting Dubois. And you can guarantee that Parker's said the same thing. Don't forget, Parker is currently, until he steps through the ropes, it may change now, the WBO interim champion. So he's given up a number 1 position with another organisation for the Dubois fight. If everything else falls through, at least he'll hold on to that number 1 position now, because he's, it's a low risk, it's a high risk, low reward for fighting Martin Bakole. If you get beaten by a Martin Bakole on 48 hours notice off the couch, then what does it say about Jospeh Parker as well? You get what I'm saying? It's heavyweights. Anything can happen. This is slightly different from the Josh Padley situation because it is heavyweights. You're not, Bakole's not going to have to boil himself down at all. He can come in whatever size he is. But yeah, it's a mess of a situation, but we've got a fight on still rather than a whole fighter falling off the card. That is the beauty, like we said again off camera, of Riyadh season. Yeah. They make things happen even when you don't expect them to.
It makes sense for Bakole in a way, boys, as well. I'm just going to go for a few comments. But what I'm thinking is he's going to fight a Jabba, which, he probably would have won in May, to be fair, but it could have potentially been a tough fight. Let's be honest. He's probably getting paid double that to step in and fight Parker here, much bigger stage. It is a risk versus reward, but he's going to, like Jay said, he's going to be getting weighed in for this Bakole. Like, it would have been probably, stupid to say no. But just looking at the comments, Mickey makes a really good point here because Billy was on about it when we interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. It's Crocker Donovan next week, and it's Andy Lee versus Billy Nelson again this week. So we got a little.
You watch one of them get sick this week.
Just hope none of them get sick for the big one in Belfast next week, Crocker Donovan. So we get a little Andy Lee, Billy Nelson rerun in this one. Jacob says, Billy says in interview, thought it's confident for it. Look, Billy's always confident in Martin.
He's going to say that.
Billy Nelson is the president of the Martin, but ultimately he knows him and he sees him every day in the gym. So Billy wouldn't have let him take it if he didn't think he could win. Could he? Yeah, Nico, he's in. Bakole versus Parker is on Saturday night.
I don't know whether Billy would have let him. That 10% looks.
Billy's going.
Don't worry about that. I think that might have something to do with this. Joking, Billy, by the way.
No one says no to Riyadh season. I don't care what, of course he's going to say that in an interview, but the bigger thing here is no one says no to Turkey. Everyone is still shit scared of getting frozen out if they don't take opportunities. That plays a factor.
Say no when Turkey comes calling.
And that will be a factor in this as well. Less so for Josh Padley, but the position Martin Bakole's in, Turkey is giving him, the position, gave him a Jared Anderson fight was on a Riyadh season card. The Jospeh fight was on a Ring magazine card, so that's still Turkey. You don't say no to him because Turkey is now slowly putting Bakole in the position that Billy and himself think he deserves to be in. So he was never going to say no. This could have happened tomorrow morning, and I guarantee Billy would still be putting Martin's name forward. You just keep the money man happy, the man that can make all your dreams come true. You don't want to piss him off.
Yeah, Luca thinks he still might fight a Jag, but I actually disagree with that, Luca. I don't think he'll, especially if he wins, he won't fight a Jag, but they'll get him in with Dubois if he wins against Parker, I think. If he loses, he might fight a Jag, bro. I don't know what you boys think.
You can't, for me, you can't have a final eliminated for a world title if he loses to Parker on Saturday. That's the reality. You can't.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
But this is the thing. If the IBF wash their hands with this fight now and it just goes for Parker's WBO interim belt, then I'm sure the IBF will find a way to still let that eliminator happen. But the logical thing that logic dictates, which doesn't apply with governing bodies in boxing, that if Bakole loses, there's no final eliminator for him. That's go to the back of the queue. You have to beat some people again, and then we find out how much Bakole really wants it if he's got to go back through the process he's been through for the last 3-4 years.
Pat, I haven't seen anything. If they do strip him, it would be disgusting, to be honest with you. So I couldn't see it happening, but he doesn't deserve to be stripped in that instance, in my opinion.
It is the IBF, mate.
Yeah, look, I just disagree with it. But if they do, they do. Dean's got Bakole winning. Lee, thanks for joining us as well, guys. Bakole by stoppage. One beneficiary, Mr. Ben Shalom, boys. Eddie said it may be untrue. Bakole one fight left with Boxer. If it is his last one, Ben Shalom's getting a nice little percentage off it. He was just sat there by Joshua Buatsi, nice and quiet at the press conference. But now he's going to be very vocal. He's going to be there at the weigh-in tomorrow, stood in the middle of them. Loving it. Yeah, to be fair, Usyk should be IBF champion, Luke. I agree with that. Boys, should we get some predictions on? I'm going to go last because I don't know who wins it at the moment. I'm going to listen to what you boys say and think very carefully about where I go from there. And by the way, anyone who's with us, thank you for joining us. There's 23 of you. Please get us in more predictions. I know we've had a few of you. Jay, 3 rounds.
Martin Bakole, 3 rounds.
He's gone there. He's gone there early doors. So he had Parker to stop Dubois in 6. He's come in. He's got his mate Billy Nelson on his back, and he's gone 3 rounds for Martin Bakole.
I just think he's going to have to go for it.
You'll be wearing your kilt, Jay, on Saturday night.
I think he'll catch him. Do not knock on my fucking window. I'm telling you now. Go away. No bed.
Car Park Diaries for JFT. Wouldn't be an episode without it. Yeah, true, Mickey, true. Liam, Tully, let's go to yourself. Bonnie's here. Bakole wouldn't be totally fit. Yeah, that is a factor, I guess, but that's probably where Jay's coming from with his third round. Doesn't need to be fit if he gets on.
No, I think he's just going to have to go. He's just going to have to go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, what literally I was about to say, Bakole has to go for it. He cannot leave it to chance. Even if he decides he wants to navigate himself through the fight, come round 7, round 8, he's going to be blowing. There's going to be no way he can physically be effective in his punches come the 7th or 8th round. So, look, Bakole, we saw against Jared Anderson what sort of power Bakole has. So we know he has the tendency to put a fighter down. We also saw Parker drop twice against Zhang, so we know his chin is there to be hit if the opportunity presents itself. But I come back to the very first thing I said when Sam kicked us off. Jospeh Parker has been preparing for a Daniel Dubois, who everyone thinks the longer the fight goes, the more it favours Jospeh Parker. That side of the game plan doesn't need to change with Martin Bakole. You're going to have to probably weather a storm for 3 or 4 rounds, and then he should be able to take over. And that's where I'm leaning towards. Yes, Bakole probably hits harder than Dubois, has the ability to get it done early. But for me, Jospeh Parker weathers an early storm and stops him in 8 or 9.
We've got one each. I honestly don't know. Pat's with Jay. Bakole before fight. Gunner's in the house. Thanks for joining us, Gunner. If I were Parker, I'd pull out of this fight and take a huge risk. Yeah, I would too. But Joe Parker's not built like me and you, Gunner. He's a different animal. Set of stones on him. I'm going with Martin Bakole, man. Big Martin's going to do it, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's going to come in and absolutely walk through Jospeh Parker.
Yeah.
It's a 4-round fight, this, for Big Martin Bakole, I'm telling you. He's going to absolutely obliterate Jospeh Parker, I'm telling you. Yeah. I'm with Cruz Moore here. Thanks for tuning in and joining. Oh, no, not that. I thought you said Cruz by destruction. I don't know about the other bit before it. Rick Shaw, Parker will KO Bakole. Yeah, boys, I think Martin Bakole's going to do it, man. I honestly do.
Mate, the thing is, I can see Bakole doing it. That's the thing. It doesn't matter that he's probably going to get off the plane 5 minutes before he's got to stand on a ceremonial set of scales. I can see him doing it.
And then he'll fight Daniel next Saturday night in Belfast.
Yeah. We'll be on the flight to Belfast.
Mate, the 360 from JFT in the last half an hour is fantastic. Love it. Mate, it's mental.
We're all over the place. We're all over the place. So me and Jay think Bakole's going to do it. I'm definitely picking purely based on I haven't got a clue, but it sounded good, so I went with the sound bite. Liam, you've gone with Joe Parker to weather the storm from Dubois. It's a fair question, Mickey. Jay disagrees with that. I don't know where I stand with it, to be fair. What do you think, Liam?
Not a bad fight.
I don't think so. I was really looking forward to Parker Dubois, to be fair.
No, mate,
I'm looking forward to Schofield. I wanted to see if Schofield could give some trouble. I was interested because he was an unknown quantity, really. So, yeah. I mean, I'm buzzing for Padley, but you know how I feel about that. No, it's not. It's weakened the card, but the card's strong enough to sustain a couple of dropouts.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be a world title fight, is it? I guess that class is as weak. But Dubois Parker was a really good fight. It was on a night. But look, Martin Bakole against Parker, we're not going to moan, are we?
No.
Look, the card is weaker. If we're being honest, Kid Schofield was starting to show signs of being a world-level fighter. Josh Padley, as far as I know, hasn't ever fought for an English or British title, never mind fringe world level. So that's definitely weakened that fight. And look, let's be really honest. Daniel Dubois and Jospeh Parker was one of the best fights on the card, not just because of the belt on it. Put that to one side for a second, but the matchup between Don Charles and Andy Lee, the trainers, and the two boxers was fascinating, and that's why we were hooked to it. We would have loved that fight even if it wasn't for a world title. Bakole coming in, look, we're laughing and joking around about it, but the reality is Martin Bakole isn't on the same level as either Daniel Dubois or Jospeh Parker for me on a level playing field where they have full training camps. It's a fantastic opportunity, but yeah, the card's weaker for it. Not to the point where it loses any value and you're questioning, if you actually want to spend your time watching it. But from what we were given to start with, yes, it's weaker.
That's
and
why.
What did I say on last week's No Punches Pulled when you two were fawning over the card? I said we're not there yet, boys.
Eddie Hearn said that last week. Did you see it?
You were ready to go, and I said we're not there yet, boys. We may get dropouts. And
Eddie Hearn said it on his show last week. Catrell Barboza. He said, "Boys," he said to Darren Barker, and he goes, "There's no dropouts yet," and he goes, "Oh, why have you said that?"
There you go.
Boys, just before we wrap up quickly, my theory on it, just thinking about it when you were just talking, I can't remember, I think it was Liam. Do you think that Bacole's coming in and made it strong because they lost Kid Schofield and had to bring Padley in? They can't afford to lose two like bring in a weaker opponent.
They've had to get a name. I reckon I firmly believe they've offered it to Joshua. They won't admit
AJ's had a call, hasn't he?
Joshua. Yeah. And Joshua said no. They'll have tried everybody. I won't be surprised.
Joshua's on the broadcast.
Yeah. So they've tried and they had to get someone big. That's why I think Bakole will get. He might have got £1 million or something stupid like that. He'll have got very, very.
I think he's got minimum £1 million. I think it could be more.
What else helps? Though? Heavyweights, they don't. Josh Padley had to meet border control stipulations for cutting the weight. There's no need for that with heavyweights. So you had a bigger pool to choose between because anyone that's a heavyweight, realistically, could have got in that ring. Any of those heavyweights that are training out in Saudi that we were talking about between ourselves earlier, it doesn't matter what weight you're at. As long as you're over 240 pounds, you can fight as a heavyweight. So it's slightly easier to do. I understand where you're coming from. They couldn't go for another C level opponent like they've done with Josh Padley for Shakur, but a lot easier when you're not asking someone to cut weight, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Look, we'll have to leave there because we'll go on all night. These two, make sure you tune in to Straight Talk on JFT. That'll be when Jay gets home from the parking lot that he's in, wherever he's at. I'll be tuning into it myself, as I have done the last few. They've been brilliant. So subscribe to Jay's Fight Talk YouTube channel. I'm sure they'll get straight back into where we've picked off here. Jay's given his shorts prediction over there. Liam's Fight Night picks might have to be refilmed now. All these fights are changing. We're gonna do a final preview, I believe, tomorrow night. We might have time to digest a little bit more about what's happened now. Obviously, we've come straight off the back of the news that's just broke. So all of us, a bit like Luca was in the chat a minute ago, just haven't processed it all over the place. But we thought we have to jump on and get a hold of this. So too many people to thank in the chat for joining us. But thanks very much as always. Wouldn't be the world of boxing without something crazy happening, would it? We'll see you tomorrow night. We'll definitely see you on Saturday night for the last crescendo. Have a great Thursday evening, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.